Hi guys, it's Leslie. So I've been getting a lot of really amazing questions about nutrition. What should I eat? How much protein should I have? What about a smoothie? When do I eat it? When do I have it? So I thought it would be helpful if I showed you what I do at my house and go through my smoothie blend formula, so everything blends nice and creamy, and also you get all the nutrition that you need. Plus at the end I'm going to answer some of the questions that you've been asking as well. Okay, so I'm going to start over here. Now when you start your smoothie, the one I'm going to be making will have almond butter in it, and I'm going to be making a chocolate almond butter smoothie. Now you want to begin with adding your liquid first, okay? And I want to talk to you for a moment about the liquid. So I have two options here. They're both coconut milk, but they differ greatly when it comes to their sugar. For example, this original has about 7 grams of sugar, and this unsweetened rather, has only less than 1 gram. So you really want to have a look at that because your base can make a huge difference. So if you're really trying to lose inches this session, I would suggest making sure it is unsweetened or even using water, okay? So I like a non-dairy base. So I'm going to go with unsweetened here, and I'm going to put in about a cup or so, all right? So I'm going to add the liquid first, and then about a cup. And then once I add the liquid, next you might want to add some greens. So greens are tricky because some people may have trouble digesting raw greens. Some people may not have a problem with it. So you've got to give it a try and see how you are with your digestion. I would start small first and then add more as it goes on, and you know how your body's going to react. I like to add spinach, about a handful or so, because you really can't taste the spinach. So I've got some organic spinach here. You can also use things like cucumbers. You can use celery. In fact, in our meal plan, we have a great recipe, a green goddess smoothie that incorporates a lot of vegetables and great fruits, so you want to give that a try, okay? Next up, you want to add your protein source, and I want to just take a moment to go through this with you. So the one I'm going to be using is this. This is my favorite one. It's a Sun Warrior brand, and it is organic. And over the years, my thoughts on protein powder has changed greatly. I used to be someone who used a whey protein. An isolated whey is actually the best form of whey protein for digestion, but I was finding I was having some trouble after a while digesting it because it is dairy based. So this one is more of a plant based. I like that. You don't have to use a supplement for protein. A lot of people think you have to use a supplement, but there are some options. So right here, this is a pumpkin seed powder. You can just use pumpkin seeds as well, 1 to 2 tablespoons. This is a hemp protein. Hemp protein powder is different. It has a little bit of a taste to it. So what I would suggest for hemp protein is actually using hemp hearts, and you only need about 1 to 2 tablespoons. And hemp is actually one of the only plant-based sources of protein with all the amino acids, so it's an amazing idea. And then we've got chia seeds here, about 1 to 2 tablespoons if you want. So I'm gonna add in, I like this powder here. So I'm gonna add 1 scoop, okay? There we go. Now next up, you want to add your fat. So in this case, you can use flax seeds, you can use 1/4 of an avocado is lovely, some coconut oil is lovely, and we've talked about it at class before, and we actually go through it in our nutrition cheat sheet. You want to have fat with each meal because that helps stabilize blood sugar, it helps you feel full. Fat is good for us in the right amount, and the right amount is about the size or so of your finger. So I'm going to add some almond butter to that. And just a scoop here, right? And sometimes you have to, there we go, a scoop of almond butter. So that's my fat serving. Next, if you want to get fancy, now if you're just starting with this stuff, don't worry about it. Take it really easy, okay? But if you want to soup things up, you can add what is known as a superfood, and that would be something like ginger. It's really good for digestion. Maca powder is really good for energy and balancing hormones. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of this because maca powder is really strong. And just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit, really, really small bit. And then another superfood is actually raw cacao, which is the unprocessed form of cocoa, and it's loaded with magnesium, and it's also really great for us. So I like a little extra chocolate, so I'm gonna add in about a teaspoon or so, okay? So there we go. Now, if you want to add a sweetener, it's totally optional. If you are looking to shed inches, I would advise against it. I also find that when I'm looking to shed inches, I really go easy on the fruit in my protein smoothies. So if I were to use a banana, I would only use 1/3 of it, and I would freeze it, and because the banana banana expands and you get more out of it. Or I would use a low glycemic fruit like berries. Blueberries are great, strawberries are great, blackberry, any type of berries, and I would only use a cup. So in this particular recipe, I'm not going to use any fruit, okay? And then I'm not going to use any sweetener, but if you wanted to sweeten, the littlest amount, a teaspoon really makes a difference. This is maple syrup. You could also use honey, okay? And then my ice cubes that have melted a little bit, I'm gonna put those in there. And once you put everything together, you want to slowly give it a little bit of pulse. So I found with ice, 6 to 8 ice cubes make it really thick. The ice cubes were a little melted, so it's a little bit watery. Very delicious. I can really taste that almond butter, really good. I can't taste the maca, I can't taste the spinach. It's very delicious. So this could be a snack. It could be a meal replacement. One great question I got was, how do you know when to have smoothies, and how do you make sure that you're not having too much, that you're going over your calories? So my answer to that question is this: before you do anything, you want to go to the portal and you want to look up how much protein do I need, and you want to do the calculation. It's 0.8 to 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, and once you know that, you're going to know where you're going to put your smoothies. So perhaps it's going to replace your lunch, perhaps you're going to have it as a snack in the afternoon, but doing that will allow you to calculate, how much you should have and not go over. So a serving of protein is about 17 grams of this one. Whey protein is going to be a little bit higher, probably 21 or so. Chicken breast is probably about 21 grams or so, okay? So you use protein when you can't get it in with regular food. So that's when it's really helpful. Another great question I had was, I want to know everyone's strategies around snacking after bed. I find I snack with my husband and that's our social time. Or if I'm back on the computer for work or doing an errand, I snack then too. It's a bit compulsive, probably linked to being tired as well. So that is a great question, and I'm sure so many of you can relate to that, right? It's the end of the night, the kids are in bed or everything's done, and you sit down and you want to have a snack. Okay, here's the thing. I've noticed a big difference in results with women when they eliminate the late night snacking, because they're going to get a better sleep. Their digestive system is going to work better, because you have to think about it. Whatever we put in our bodies at night, we're not doing exercise or doing things throughout the day where we're going to burn those calories, so they will more likely be converted to fat. So what I would advise, especially if you're looking to shed inches, is focusing on things like herbal teas, focusing on trying to replace those behaviors with something else. So maybe you go for a walk instead, or you get out of the kitchen, right? You've got to change that behavior so you're not called into snack, or you're not wanting to do that. Okay, so really good point about that. So trying not to have anything at night. You will be hungry, but that's natural. It's all habitual, and the more you do it, the less your body will expect it, and then that hunger will go away. Now, if you truly are hungry, you could do something like a smoothie at night, because there's more protein in it, there's healthy fats, and there's less carbohydrates in the form of sugars, or even in the form of lots of fruit, okay? So I hope that helps. Oh, and I have another question. Any suggestions for recipes and suggested daily servings of things like protein and healthy seed and oils? I'm in the process of trying new things like hemp, chia seeds. Do I start small and then increase? And actually, you know what, that's a very good question. So I find with hemp seeds, I don't have them here, but I find with hemp seeds, you can eat those no problem. You can do your 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, absolutely fine. With chia seeds, I would suggest maybe start with a half a teaspoon, and see how you respond to that. One serving, again, this is considered a fat, is going to be about the size of your thumb, of the top of your thumb, okay? So something to think about there. So I hope this answers some of your questions. If you have any more questions, please send them our way, and we can put a video like this together so you can watch it. Have a great day, everyone.